Hi, my name is Mercedes Gill, and virtually I have watching my mom, my dad, my brothers, which I have two brothers, and then my friend Bella. And if I keep looking over here, it's because I wrote out my flashcards instead of, I typed out my flashcards instead of writing them, and I have my, virtual people watching. But in this speech, I'm going to be talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. So today I will take you through the three main points: his early life, psychological background, and the crimes he committed, and then the aftermath of his capture and the trial. Jeffrey Dahmer was born in 1960 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He had a troubled life that really foreshadows his later crimes. He was a quiet and withdrawn child. He often felt neglected by his parents. They did not have a good marriage, which just set Jeffrey up for a lot of problems. And as a teenager, he developed a fascination with dead animals and dissecting them, like picking up roadkill off the road and dissecting them. And his father actually had a lot of chemical knowledge, so he was able to help him with that. Probably not the best. He often showed behaviors associated with early warning signs of psychopathy, and he struggled with alcohol abuse and social isolation, which only worsened after his parents got divorced. And despite all of these warning signs that Jeffrey had showed, they really went largely unnoticed, allowing him to escalate into what he did in his later life. So now that we know about his early life, let's get into the crimes that made him this infamous murderer. Over the course of 13 years, he murdered 17 young men, many of whom were lured to his apartment with the promise of money or companionship. His crimes were particularly disturbing due to the brutality and psychological manipulation he used on his victims. He would promise them either money in change for sexual acts, or that he just wanted them to be a companion to them, which, as we know now, that's not all he wanted. His first murder took place in 1978 when he was just 18 years old. He picked up a hitchhiker on the side of the road, and he killed him and disposed of the body in secret. Then Jeffrey took a 9-year gap. He resumed his killing spree in 1987, targeting men he met in bars and nightclubs. His crimes included murder, dismemberment, necrophilia, and cannibalism, which is a large thing that Jeffrey was known for. And many of his victims were drugged before he killed them. He kept some of the body parts as trophies and experimented with them in ways to create submissive living zombies by injecting them with acid into their brains. One of his victims, he drilled a hole into his head and poured acid into it, trying to get him to be one of the living zombies. Did not work out the way he thought it would. Despite the multiple encounters he had with the law enforcement, including one situation where the police returned a drug victim to Jeffrey, he evaded capture due to his manipulation ability and his ability to appear cooperative. So, yeah. And then let's get into the trial. In 1991, his trial started. It came to an end. One of his victims managed to escape and alerted the police. And then when the authorities had arrived at Jeffrey's apartment, which he lived in an apartment building with other people, as normal apartment buildings are, but his, I don't know if you call them attendants, other people that lived at the apartment had been filing things with the police, calling the landlord and saying that it really stunk. And once again, Jeffrey just used his manipulation to be oh yeah, had some exotic fish, they died, just stunk up the place. But now we know that's actually not the truth. But when the authorities came to his apartment, they discovered disturbing evidence, including human remains in the refrigerator, skulls, and photographs of dismembered bodies. So in the freezer, he had a few skulls, and then I believe in the refrigerator he actually had one head, that was still not, the skin was not taken off and stuff. And he had taken a lot of photographs, like, of the bodies, like, during dismemberment, before dismemberment, of the victims just being drugged, like, before he killed them. He was very disturbing. During his trial, he openly admitted to his crimes and was sentenced to 16 life terms in prison, which accounts to over 900 years behind bars. And despite that, his, like, admitting his guilt, he was murdered by a fellow inmate in 1994, bringing his brutal life to an end. And this is a very crazy case because not only did he kill people in such a brutal way, he also was a cannibal in some ways. And while the crimes he committed ended a long time ago, their impact continues to shape criminal justice today. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say.